Good evening, students. Okay, today we'll see the some terminology of the object-oriented programming. Okay, we are already in the previous class. We started the object-oriented programming using the Python, and we compared the procedural programming and object-oriented programming. And we have seen some of the classes, different types of classes like account holder, account, and K class, something like this. Okay, now we'll see what are these all words we are using in the dealing of object-oriented programming. Okay, we have already used the word like class and functions, attributes, methods, properties, something like this. We have used some of the words. Okay, we'll see what are those all words. Okay, okay, here the class is nothing but a blueprint of the object. Okay, that is whenever you want to create a particular data. Okay, we need some data type for the data. Say for example, I want to store a number in a computer. Okay, I require the data type for the number like a int, float, double, long, like that. Okay, so whenever you are creating a variable for the int data type, okay, like a is a one variable which stores the one integer number. Okay, in the like same way, if you are creating a 10 variables, okay, then there are the 10 different variables which are having a 10 different integer values. But all that 10 variables are having the same data type is the int. That is int data type provides us the blueprint for the, that is what are the restrictions and what are the rules to be followed by a one integer value. Those all are defined by the data type. And these all 10 variables satisfies the same properties and uses the same rules and regulations and stores the same type of a value. So here the object is nothing but our so here the object is nothing but the data type variable value. Okay, that is the variable of the particular data type, and blueprint is the data type. So here we can define the class as a data type and object as a variable for that data type. Okay, so in the same way, the Python also uses the classes as the blueprints and creating some objects for the class as the variables. Okay, so but only the difference between the normal data type and class is having other variables and also having some group of functions. But normal variable has only the data we can store in that variable. That is also only one data value. But here in the class, we can store the multiple values. Okay, this is similar to the structure in the C language. And next is the class variable. Class variable is the variable, okay, which is used to store the data in the class. Okay, this is the storage location for storing of a data in the class. Okay, so whenever you want to specify any functionality for the class, then we'll use the methods. And whenever you want to store the data to the class, then you can use the class variable. Okay, and next is the data member. Okay, data member is also we can call it as a class variable. Class variable and data member is the similar. Okay, generally we'll call as functions as the member functions and variables as the data members. Okay. Okay, so the data member is it maybe a class variable or maybe a instance variable. Okay, for the time being, just remember that data member is nothing but a class variable, that is the variable which is defined within the class to hold the class data. Okay, next is the instance. Instance is nothing but, okay, this is the object. Okay, the object can also be called as a instance. That is whenever a data type is available in the memory, okay, then it doesn't has any memory space. Okay, that is data type is not allocated any memory space. Once you are created any variable for the data type, then only it will be allocated the some memory space. So here also the creation of a class, it doesn't take any memory space. Once you created the object, then it allocates the memory space for your class. Okay, so as in the same way here, the creating of this object or one object of a class is called as a one instance of a class. That is, class has a one existence. Okay, class got the one existence in the memory. So that we will call it as the instance of the class. Okay, so Python can create the as many number of instances, because as many number of objects or variables are required, we can create. So here the object and instance is the same. Okay, the similar name. Okay, either we can call that as the instance or as the object. Instance variable. Instance variable is nothing but whenever you create an object or a instance for a class. Okay, using that instance, if you are able to access the variable of a class, that is variable which is defined within the class, or data member of the class, if you are able to access, okay, that variable of that particular object is called as the instance variable. Okay, say for example, if you have a class student, okay, student is the class. Say for example, the name of a class is stu, and you want to store the two students data. So one is the s1, that is within the s1 is a one instance, s2 is the another instance. Within the s1 I want to store this one student information, and within the s2 I want to store the another student information. Okay, in both these instances I have a different variables of the class. Okay, s1 has the one set of a class variables, s2 has one set of a class variables. Okay, the variables which are available in this S1 instance are called as the S1 instance variables. Okay, the variables in the S2 instance are called as S2 instance variables. Okay, okay, that is the variable which is specific to the particular object or particular instance. Okay, those are called as the instance variables. Okay. Because only these variables are accessible by the only that particular instance of the class. Okay, next is the instantiation. Okay, this is creating a object of a class or creating the instance of a class is called as instantiation. That is this step. Okay, creating the instances or object of a class, this particular step is called as the instantiation. Okay, next, method. Okay, the functions within the class are called as the methods. Okay, so these can be called as member functions or methods. Okay, general name is function, but whenever you are dealing with the classes, then we will call that functions as the methods. Okay, so these are created with the required parameters, and will be define the code for the function, and it returns some value. And object is the this is the variable of a class. Okay, or which throws the particular values of a class is called as the object. Next, features of the object oriented programming. Okay, so features is nothing but the different advantages or different facilities which are provided by the object oriented programming. Okay, the first thing is the first feature of the object oriented programming is combining the functions and data as a collection and providing a one single data type for that collection of a data and functions. That is the first advantage. The second advantage is function overloading. Function overloading is defining the more than one function with the same name. Okay, so we can also call it as creating a more than one version of a functions with the same name. Okay, say for example, I want to perform the addition of two numbers and three numbers. Then I can write the same function name for the both the functions as sum, but I can change the number of arguments in the function. Okay, sum of two numbers has the two arguments, and whereas sum of three numbers has the three arguments, but the name of the function is same. Okay, this is provided only within the object oriented programming, that is called as the function overloading. Okay, next, inheritance. Inheritance is nothing but deriving the properties of the existing class to a new class. Okay, say for example, if there is already one class is already created, and in the same class properties I want to use in the another new class, then that is called as the inheritance. Okay, in general we can call it as a from the parent, okay, we get the some properties as a child. Okay, parent has some color, skin, some different skin color, different properties of the face, and different characteristics and different behaviors. Okay, the same are derived to the child, and child itself has the some special properties. Okay, itself has some special behavior and itself has some special characteristics, but the child also has the properties of the parent and also has some different properties. Okay, so it combined with the parent properties and the new properties of the child. So in the same way, in the computer, in the object oriented programming, we can create a one existing class. Within that we can specify the variables within the class. Okay, say for example p class has some variables, and with the same variables I can create another class which will uses these variables, and it can also has its own variables. Okay, okay, that is called as the inheritance, and this is also called as reusability of the code. So we can reuse the existing code without writing it again. Okay, in detail we'll see in whenever we are dealing these features. Okay, next. So this is the inheritance, which is there is already account class, okay, with the holder, account holder name, number of the account, balance of the account. Okay, from this we have a two subclasses, that is two child classes which are derived from the account class as savings account and gyro account. Savings account has all these variables to savings account, and also it has its own individual variable is interest rate, and just gyro account also has the same variables of the account class, that is holder, a number and balance, and also has three new variables: credit line, debit interest and credit interest. And these methods are also derived to the these two classes and also has their own methods. Okay, so this is we'll call it as the inheritance. Next features are operator overloading. Okay, this is similar to the function overloading, but it uses to overload the different types of operators which are already available in our programming language. That is generally the addition operator plus is used to add the two numbers or two strings, but you can also use to add the two students data, or you can also use to add two employees data, or you can find out the difference of the two students using minus operator. Okay, like that you can overload these operators to perform the different operations. Okay, that we can do within the object oriented programming. Next is the encapsulation. Encapsulation is nothing but hiding the data. Okay, that is whenever you want to hide the information which is already available in the class. Okay, then we can use the encapsulation feature. Okay, for this we will use the some access specifiers like private, public and protected. Using that we can hide the our variables from the outside of the class. Okay, this is provided within the object oriented programming. This is the encapsulation. Okay, account holder class has some of the variables like surname, prename, address and profession and something birthday like this. Okay, I don't want to allow the other classes to use these variables. Say for example there is some X class, okay, which is not related to the account class, so I want to restrict this class to access my data. Okay, then I can provide the access specifiers for these data members, so that only this functions of the class can access these data members, and outside of the class they cannot access these data members. Okay, that we will call it as the encapsulation. Next is the polymorphism feature. Okay, this is whenever you want to define the same name for the different functions, or we want to use the same name for the different purposes. Okay, that is called as the polymorphism. The simple example is, okay, generally you have the GPS for navigating. The same GPS you can use for the different other purposes. Okay, okay, this we will call it as the polymorphism. Okay, like this. Operating system is only one.